Every year, clients ask us, what's the difference between psychotherapy, traditional therapy, and hypnotherapy? This is a very good question, and I certainly understand the need to know the difference, as it is a choice that you're going to have to make if you feel like you may need some help with whatever has you watching this video right now. You see, at Potentia, in our programs, we only work with hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming, which is NLP. But the truth of the matter is, hypnotherapy might not be the best fit for you. In fact, a psychotherapist or a somatic therapist may even be the better option. This video is going to show you and explain the pros and cons of each psychotherapy and hypnotherapy in an honest and transparent way. This way, by the end of the video, you'll be able to identify which option is better suited for you at this time. So let me first start by saying neither is superior over the other. It's a bit more complex than that. Here is what I mean. Hypnotherapy is more effective than psychotherapy in some cases. But psychotherapy is also more effective than hypnotherapy in other cases. And in a lot of cases, it can be a wonderful pair. So let's go ahead and let's start with psychotherapy, also known as psychological therapy or talk therapy. Psychotherapy uses a myriad of psychological methods that are designed to help a person change their behavior, increase their happiness, and overcome problems. The end goal is simple: improve one's quality of life. All right? It's important to know, however, there are a couple of forms of psychotherapy, right? They have insight-oriented psychotherapy. Cognitive behavior therapy is a form of it. Systemic therapy. You see, psychotherapists understand the psyche, and they know that the unconscious mind is a main driver of behavior. So their approach is designed to change one's unconscious belief patterns. But the reality is it takes a lot longer to do it. For example, studies show that 50% of people who see a psychotherapist need a minimum of 7 to 10 sessions to feel a difference. And about 75% of people will start seeing a difference by their 26th session. Globally, the success rate is around 44 to 51%, with an average of 20 to 30 sessions over 6 months. Some individuals report seeing their therapist for years for specific problems. Now, since psychotherapy works more with the conscious functions of the mind, the timeline is longer due to the way the mind works. And that is, all permanent change happens unconsciously. Although there is an intention of changing the subconscious and unconscious thought patterns, it can take some time to do it. Okay, so here's a couple of benefits of psychotherapy. First is a close therapeutic relationship with your therapist. Next is treatment is thorough, and it can take as long as you and your therapist feel is beneficial. Next, it allows you to express yourself honestly in a non-judgmental space, which is very important. It also helps you identify underlying causes causing emotional problems. Now, the limitations of psychotherapy are few. It can take much longer than other forms of therapy, lasting years sometimes. Sometimes the sessions are spent talking about issues that have nothing to do with the problem that you're actually facing, kind of just wasting time. It can also lead to more problems, as it tends to focus more on discussing them in some cases. And it does have trouble bypassing the critical faculty, causing a resistance to change. So, what about hypnotherapy? Well, as you know, hypnotherapy is a therapeutic approach that uses the process of hypnosis to accomplish the same goal of psychotherapy: improve someone's quality of life, specifically by changing their behavior and their belief patterns. You see, hypnotherapy has been around for hundreds of years, but it's not really been accepted as well as other therapeutic methods. And the only reason is because it's wildly misunderstood. Here's what hypnotherapy actually does. It bypasses critical faculty to access the subconscious state of mind, which is powerful due to the fact that all of your behavior and thought patterns are caused by the subconscious, allowing you to overcome them a lot quicker when you can communicate with it. Critical faculty is basically the internal filter we use to make judgments about what is good or true. It's a part of ourselves that interprets the environment and adds meaning to everything around us. This is also the part of your mind that accepts a suggestion or completely rejects the suggestion. For example, if you are working 70 hours a week to grow your business because you were told that you have to hustle and grind, then you will literally reject the idea that you can make more money by working 20 hours a week. It simply does not go against your belief system or your way of seeing life. Once an idea enters the mind, you use critical faculty to analyze that idea based on your stored data, basically what you know to be true, and then you will reject it if it does not fit in that system. Hypnotherapy removes this part, removes basically the biggest barrier to successful therapy: conscious resistance. This means hypnosis has an advantage, a massive one, and that is direct communication with the unconscious mind. This part of your mind is where you hold your identity, your beliefs, your habitual behaviors. When you're in a hypnotic induced state, you can make real changes to these things fast. Remember, all permanent change happens in the subconscious part of the mind. Because of this unique advantage, hypnotherapy has a 93% success rate with an average of 3 to 6 sessions, compared to psychotherapy at 44 to 51% with an average of 20 to 30 sessions. So from an objective point of view, hypnotherapy has the upper hand. But, and yes, there's a big one, hypnotherapy is not for everyone, and it cannot solve every problem. In fact, many times I have to refer people to other trauma therapists or even psychotherapists because I feel like hypnotherapy may not be the answer, or at least not the answer at that specific time. So, when does hypnotherapy actually make sense? Well, let's actually talk about when it doesn't make sense, okay? Because just because I'm a hypnotist, I'm an advocate for hypnosis, doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and tell you it's the answer for you, because making that statement will be very ignorant of me, honestly, okay? Like let's start here. If you have a severe mental illness, such as bipolar disorder, psychosis, or schizophrenia, these things can a lot of the times backfire in hypnotherapy and even cause more problematic symptoms. So watch out for any hypnotherapist who says they can fix these things easily, okay? Now, in many cases, behavior therapists are the best for these kinds of conditions, like cognitive behavior therapy. Now, in cases of severe trauma, such as sexual, verbal, physical abuse, car wrecks, extremely traumatic events, PTSD, I recommend you consulting with a somatic therapist or a therapist or practitioner who does body work. Ensure that they feel comfortable with working with your situation, and also ensure that they have a lot of experience and success in doing so. Now, sometimes severe anxiety and depression is something I would also recommend going to see a somatic therapist for while seeing a hypnotherapist. So for some reason, this combination seems to be very effective, which is why I partner with somatic therapists to work with my clients in these cases. Now, when does hypnotherapy actually make sense? Now that you know what hypnotherapy isn't suited for, what would be something that can be very effectively treated with hypnotherapy? Well, before we go into that, let's cover the most important thing of all: safety. Hypnosis, hypnotist, hypnotherapy carries a lot of stigma, these words alone, right? Like mind control, dark magic, voodoo, supernatural powers, the devil, or flat out fake. Right? So this means not everybody is even comfortable with the idea of being hypnotized. Although they're hypnotized all the time. So somehow, some people are just fearful, and understandably so. Most hypnotists are seen on stage entertaining a crowd, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen one, but it kind of looks like mind control. It's not mind control. I'm going to cover that, but it sure does and can look like it, okay? So most people don't even feel secure with the idea of giving up control. And if you are fearful, then you can block hypnosis from taking place, defeating the entire purpose. So you must first feel comfortable with the process and be at ease with the hypnotherapist that you choose to work with. This is crucial to success because all change happens when the mind is relaxed. That's when we can be very fluid with our identities and our behaviors. Now, assuming that you're comfortable with the idea of hypnosis and you're still wondering, what can it do? Here's a list of things that hypnotherapy is well suited for. Eliminating addictions in some cases, eliminating anxiety, like chronic anxiety, depression in some cases, habit change, nail biting, smoking, procrastinating, laziness, overeating, can eliminate those things, weight loss, enhance performance, establish more confidence, overcome phobias and fears, a lot of things like that. And it's very important to understand that hypnotherapy is not better than psychotherapy for these things. It ultimately depends on your specific situation and your preferences. However, it's important to remember the difference. Psychotherapy will guide you on changing your beliefs, your behaviors, and your self-image while conscious. Hypnotherapy will do the same thing. However, it's done subconsciously, allowing you speedy access to the root causes, and you can make bigger changes faster. And it works more faster and more often than others. So That's hypnotherapy. From an objective point of view, hypnotherapy seems to be more effective. But to say it's superior cannot be true to the very nature of human beings. Some of us are receptive to other ideas and some of us aren't. Hypnotherapy is not better for someone who doesn't want to do it, but it is for someone who wants to do it. So, it's merely an opinion from this point, and I'll leave you to find your own. It's not my job. If you don't feel comfortable with it, or you're dealing with things that are not listed here, I'd encourage you to go do some deeper research into hypnotherapy for that specific thing, or just go find some other methods of treatment. There's so much out there, okay? But here's a couple of benefits of hypnotherapy, really quick. Again, you get that close therapeutic relationship with your therapist. Number 2, treatment is fast. With 76% of people getting results in 3 sessions or less, 93% take 6 sessions or less. It also causes the nervous system to relax, releasing tension from the muscles, causing the brain to calm down, which can accelerate healing and regeneration. You also have no need to rely on conscious willpower or effort to change your habits or behaviors. And it can also be used as a wonderful self-management and self-growth tool. Self-hypnosis is used by many. Now, limitations of hypnotherapy is if a client does not feel safe, they will reject the hypnosis from happening. It does not have a high success rate with psychosis, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia, anything like that. And not all results take place in one session. The norm for most is about 3 to 6 sessions. Now, it can cause an after effect of anxiety, tiredness, or even confusion sometimes. Okay? Now, the bottom line is neither hypnotherapy or psychotherapy are superior than the other. Hypnotherapy is better in more cases, and psychotherapy is better than others. In many cases, they can be a great combination. Okay? Somatic therapists are also best for high levels of trauma. Just keep that in mind. Okay? The effectiveness depends on your personal preferences and your mental conditions, and of course, the skill of the facilitator. The most important factor is safety. If you feel safe and comfortable with your particular therapist, that in itself will create a lot more success. So I hope you found this video valuable, and I hope I answered your biggest questions, and I hope I gave you all the clarity you needed. If you have any questions or anything left, please leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them in full.